this is going to be a long one today, so let's talk about one of the older movies on my list. So, Armageddon is the story of an asteroid the size of Texas coming towards Earth, about to kill and impact all life on the planet. And as you might imagine, it's up to someone to try and stop it. Who, you might ask? None other than NASA, with the help of a bunch of ragtag, scruffy oil drillers and regular folk, led by Bruce Willis. If anyone remembers this, back in 1998 when this movie came out, it was released during the same time as another impact-based movie called Deep Impact. Only that one was a comet and that had Morgan Freeman in it, so it was basically a fight between both films. Funnily enough, Deep Impact won points for being more scientifically accurate, while Armageddon got more money because it was dramatic, and it was real dramatic at points, at least in my opinion. But on to the story. The asteroid is detected by NASA by way of a meteor shower that blows up a shuttle and then proceeds to wreak havoc in New York, and Billy Bob Thornton happens to play the director of NASA. On the other side of the planet, you have Bruce Willis and his motley crew working on an oil rig along with Will Patton, Steve Buscemi, Michael Clark Duncan, and Ben Affleck. Now, there is a bit of comedy here and there when Willis discovers that Ben Affleck has been sleeping with his daughter this whole time, who happens to be played by Liv Tyler in this movie, and then he proceeds to start shooting at Ben Affleck with a shotgun. Now, at first, it's kind of funny until you have to ask yourself why is his daughter on an oil rig in the first place, and why he's opening fire on his own oil rig when he could and actually does cause some damage to his property. Which, in fact, is actually one of the many small things that will make you scratch your head about this movie. Marching on a bit, NASA decides to call Bruce Willis over and try and assemble a team to go up in space and nuke the largest asteroid before it hits and kills everyone. Why Bruce Willis, you may ask? Well, because he designed the drill that's being used to drill a hole in the asteroid and drop the nuke in. Yeah, this is when everybody starts to ask why regular Joe Blows have to try and be astronauts instead of just teaching astronauts how to drill. It sounds easier, especially when they have only about 17 days to do this task before the asteroid hits. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but supposedly there's a joke that Ben Affleck actually asked Michael Bay the same question when filming, and Bay was all like, "Shut the fuck up, Ben," and that was it. Anyway, there's a long montage of Bruce Willis and company, including his old co-workers, some new people like Owen Wilson going through tests and physicals and random shit, and being flown in through jets just to see what space is like. It's actually pretty good comedy coming from Bay, even if it is a bit unrealistic, and I got a good laugh out of it, so he gets points for that. So, time goes on, Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck still butt heads at one point. Then a larger meteor, or at this point, could it be considered a meteor? It's more of an asteroid. But anyway, a larger asteroid hits Shanghai, and then the story about the killer asteroid goes public, which should have gone public already since America's largest city got hammered at the start of the movie, and there's no way no one would not notice that. Anywho, it's time for the astronauts to get ready to go up in space on two different shuttles and finally blow up the asteroid. And I have to say, the music for the scene when the astronauts go up is really catchy. I ended up adding it to my iTunes, in fact. So, once they get into space, they dock on the space station, the Russian space station, where Peter Stormare is working, but something else. Space station decides to go boom, and everyone escapes without getting shredded by the huge amount of debris flying all over. It was pretty convenient. So after that scary bit of tension ends, it comes time to get on the asteroid, but one of the shuttles sadly gets knocked out and half of the crew get killed. But thankfully, Ben Affleck, Michael Clark Duncan, and Peter Stormare make it out of that crash alive. Everyone else isn't so lucky. Meanwhile, the other shuttle lands perfectly okay, and they start drilling, but then more shit happens, like the government deciding to take over NASA and remote detonate the nuke from Earth. Because the asteroid starts spinning and they're losing contact, so it makes perfect sense to just sacrifice the whole trip when the drilling hasn't even started yet. Thankfully, Billy Bob Thornton thwarts them, and the astronauts disable the remote timer so the government doesn't fuck things up for them. Good. But then things get messed up anyway because Steve Buscemi, and as a result of that, they lose the drill and everything looks doomed. That is until Ben Affleck arrives with the other drill machine from God knows where on the other side of the asteroid. Now, that's incredibly lucky of them considering the thing is the size of Texas according to the film and could have taken hours. But in light of that, they finally get back to drilling and eventually reach the mark and get ready to drop the nuke in, when sadly the asteroid itself kind of takes it out. No, I'm serious. The asteroid, well, it's more of a meteor shower on the asteroid that damages the nuke, so that now it has to be hand detonated, meaning someone has to stay behind and do it, aka self-sacrifice. In hindsight, now I kind of got to ask myself if there should have been a failsafe for that nuke in case it did get damaged. Specifically, since earlier in the film, NASA said they don't take any chances. But I guess that's beside the point. Anyway, they draw straws and Ben Affleck loses out, so it seems kind of dark until Bruce Willis intervenes and decides to take his place. So from there's a pretty sad exchange when he contacts Earth one last time and tells Liv Tyler that he's not coming back. And the music there really sells it. So then finally, after 2 hours, the shuttle gets off the asteroid, albeit with some trouble. And then just when the asteroid is about to get too close to Earth, Bruce Willis finally hits the detonator, and the asteroid finally goes boom, or rather splits into 2 smaller pieces which fly past Earth, saving everybody. Honestly, were you expecting the asteroid to just hit Earth and end the movie there? I wasn't, but in hindsight, that kind of would have been a cool alternate ending though, so oh well. In the end, aside from the blatant disregard for physics and scientific accuracy and constant noise, Armageddon was a very fun movie to watch, and honestly, it's one of Michael Bay's better films in my opinion. And yes, I know that sounds odd, but well, I liked it. There's no shame in that. Sure, one nuke shouldn't have realistically split the asteroid that big, but like I said, drama is what sold this movie, and it worked. And that's why I'm giving it a silver ribbon rating. So, what did you all think? Did you like it, dislike it, not see it? Whenever you feel, leave a comment, and why not hit subscribe to see what else I have in store.